Hello. Today we're going to be doing a Birdwatchers, or also known as a tomato paste wash. Um, I found this a short while ago from the Home Distillers Forum, and that's, as far as I can tell, where it was originally created from one of the members. And it was one of the most basic washes that I'd ever heard of before. There are some others which I will be trying soon, and I'll be making some videos for. But the to tell you more about it, it's basically a lot of people don't like turbo washes. I've been doing turbo washes for 7, 8 years or so, and that is obviously where you get your turbo yeast, big old sachet pack. You've got nutrients and yeast and all sorts of things in there, and they say put in 5 to 8 kilos of sugar, and they reckon within 2 to 5 days you've now got very high alcohol. A lot of the pros don't like it because it puts the yeast under stress. It uses too much chemicals or things like that, and they just don't like it. So you got things like the tomato paste wash and others. So for ingredients, what you basically need is 5 kilos of granulated sugar. I tend to buy them in a big bag because it just makes it a bit easier. 250 grams of tomato puree. Now, this could be any sort of tomato puree, or if you're in America, tomato paste. I buy it from whichever supermarket I'm in. These cost like 50, 60p each. Sadly, they come in 200 grams, and we need 250. So there will be 150 left in one of these, which we'll be using for pasta, bake, or something else. Now, make sure that it is pure tomato puree, that there's no added garlic or any other ingredients, because it really does need to be pure tomato puree. Then you need juice of 1 lemon. Now it will come round at around about 80 milliliters of juice, and it needs to be juiced and the pips and everything else taken out. If you don't want to use lemon juice, then you can use citric acid. So for that, you would need 4.7 grams. When I buy them in big old 1 kilogram tubs, I bag them up so that way it doesn't just go dry, soak up the moisture and starts clogging. So you'll need, I personally like citric acid. When I buy lemons, I've got to buy them in packs of 4. I don't want to do 4 washes. I want to use 1, and then the other 3 go mold and get thrown in the bin. And it's a waste on the environment, a waste of money, whereas with citric acid, and that's all you're actually using it for, the actual lemon, perfect. And then 0.35 grams of Epsom salts. Again, I buy it in big kilo bags, and then I separate it up. Now, the whole point of the citric acid is to lower the pH, to make it a better environment for the yeast, whereas the Epsom salts raises the hardness of the water, again, to make it a better environment. And then the last ingredient is 70 grams of baker's yeast. Quite literally, ordinary baker's yeast, things you can make bread and everything else. I do make handmade bread and rolls and fruit loaves and things, so I've always got loads of this around. So for today, I'm going to be using the leftovers in this tin, and then I've got a brand new tin here. It doesn't really matter what yeast you use. If you're in the UK, I would highly recommend Alison's. That's all I've ever used, and it works really well. I know this is, you can't get this from other countries, so whatever you use, whatever local to you. So that's about it, really. So what I've already done is, because I want to start temperature, temperature-wise, you're looking at in between 24 to 30 degrees. I tend to do mine at 27 to 28 degrees. That's what I program my heater to be 27 to 28. It'll just bounce between that by 1 degree, and it works out really well. Start gravity, you want it between 1.06 and 0.8. Most people tend to go around the 0.7 value, but it's entirely up to you. It's a learning. Now, other people will put multivitamins, and they'll get a single multivitamin tablet. They'll crush it all up and put it in a powder, and apparently it gives less stress to the yeast. I've not needed to. I've not tried, admittedly, but the washes that I've made distill really nice, really clean, so I don't need to worry. Admittedly, other people don't do the Epsom salts, and I've not tried it without. I need to try it and then just compare it, because it could be that I don't need it, but it will also depend on your water. Are you using bottled filtered water from your shop? Are you using a Brita filter? Are you using tap water? what's your hardness like. There's a lot of different variables, so realistically practice. What I'm going to do is, this is the fermentation vessel I'm going to be using. It's a 30-litre barrel bucket, but I'm actually going to be doing this in my shed because my wife would kill me if I do this in the house. So these are just here for, just so you can see, I'm using my Love Brewing boiler. I put in 21 litres of water, and I've also put in the 5 kilograms of sugar already. So that's all melted and ready. So the idea will be is I'm going to put all the ingredients into here apart from the yeast. Then off camera, I'm going to transfer this into the bucket, into the shed, and then we'll record the video of me adding the yeast, because obviously such an exciting thing to do. You're going to want to see that. First thing we want to do is measure out the citric acid and the Epsom salts. So the Epsom salts, we need 0.35. I can get it in the bag. Zero that. 0.035. There we go. And then zero it again. And citric acid, we need 4.7 grams. There we go. Now these will dissolve in water, but like sugar, it's a lot quicker if you do it under warm water. So what I'd recommend is getting a little bit of warm water. Switch that off. Just let that set for a little second. So again, get some of your warm sugar water. So we need 250 grams. So it's at 0 right now. That's all I'm going to get out of that one. Yep. Now, it looks quite dunky. So if we move, so you can actually have a look. That really is quite, let's give it a mix. The reason why we're mixing it with water is if you add this straight to your damage on your bucket, it's going to sink straight to the bottom. And yeah, you can mix it up with a big spoon, but it's just a lot easier if you've already put it into water. Yeah, that's all we need. And what we need to do then is to keep stirring this until this is all dissolved as well. Oh, try not to drip it everywhere. Okay, that's good enough for me. So I'll add that in. Give that a bit of a stir. Mix that all up. And then add it into here. Looks lovely. Let's give that a bit of a stir. Right, now that's done, I'm going to transfer this to the shed, so I'll see you in a sec. So here we are in my shed, and this is my beer insulated fridge that I've converted. So I can secure it, it can heat itself and retain its heat inside, and it works a lot better. I can work in heat and cold weathers. So, a little bit awkward. There we go. Now the first thing we need to do is take a hydrometer reading. Now I'm not too worried about the start specific gravity, but we shall see. pretty much bang on 1.080. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now I always, or never, let me just write that down. So 1.080. Let's put the yeast in. I say this is 70 grams. These tubs are 125 grams. So it's typical, just like with the tomato puree, you can't use just one or two, you're having to use one and a bit. But it lasts for a while. If you are going to split a pot and use it again later, put it in the fridge. It really could do with being cold. If you're like me and you're going to make bread, then it's perfectly fine. You don't need to refrigerate it. So pour it in. I tend to give it a little bit of a mix, but it's rather than stirring, it's more pushing it down. Let's see if I can give you a better look. There we go. It's more just splitting it up, making sure that it's all dry. It's all, sorry, none of it's dry, and it breaks up into the big pieces, so it can at least circulate and get it all. There we go. That's that. Shake that off. Now, different people also think differently of whether you should use airlocks. I always do. So let's secure this. Yep, that's all good. Get my airlock that's already got water in it. Let's just move this down a little bit. Yep, the water's moving. So I know I've got a good seal. And that's it. So let's just check. That heat belt is on. I can feel it's warm. That's got a light. Got a light on the airlock sensor. So it will read all the air bubbles, movement. And right now, if I bring the camera up, we can see the temperature of the wash is currently 25.2, and that will be slowly rising and bring it up to 28 degrees. And the lights show me that it's heating. Oh, it's dropped tightly. So there we go. We'll now leave this for a couple of days, make sure it's getting some air coming through, and then we'll come back at the end once it's done. Right. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. We are on day 17 and the wash is finished. It probably finished around about day 15, but I've deliberately left it a couple of days just to make sure. So I've taken the air lock off, and I've also taken the hydrometer reading, which was 0.988. That's at 28 degrees Celsius. So I'll work out what that actually is at 20 degrees. That's what the hydrometer is calibrated at, and then we'll work out the ABV, or the expected ABV. Apart from that, so it's looking quite good. That's what I do like about the tomato paste wash, is look at the yeast layer. There's hardly any scum all around the top. It's nice and easy to clean. And if we go down here, you can see a relatively nice layer of crud down there. And this will rack off nicely. So what I'm going to do though is I'll rack this off, and you can see what it looks like in a glass carboy. There you go. As you can see, it's quite tomato paste, or tomato in colour. It's a lovely looking wash. So that's done. That's the tomato paste wash. All right. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it.